I managed to turn off my live when I was just trying to add in my partner in crime, Chris. So this is Skin Secrets, and we are talking about retinol and why it is so amazing. So I am going to add, oh, here he is. Here's Chris. He's ready. He's waiting. Let's add him in. Oh no, is Instagram playing? Hey, thanks for joining. Hey, Isla. Right, let me just accept him. Is he in? He's in. He's in. Woo!
I've got the disco music on in the background, and I was just having a little bit of a dance. I'm a little bit, let's call it glowy.
Love it. Love it. So I was just saying to the guys that this is our retinol episode. So we're talking all things retinol, why it's good, all the benefits, how to use it, what you shouldn't use it with, absolutely everything. But first of all, how are you? Oh, I can't hear you anymore, Chris. Are you there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm really good, thank you. I've had a bit of an interesting day. Started off at 6 with the horses, and the horses had migrated into one field, which is not, they shouldn't do that. So at 6 we had to rebuild a fence, which is fine. And then came home and I thought, you know what, it's 8 o'clock and I've got a bit of a day to myself. So I'm gonna go to the gym because I didn't go yesterday, and I was like, I'll go to the gym. So booked on for 9:30. Need to leave at 9:15. At 9:20, I've not left. So I ran out to the car and then I ran back in the house and thought, I can't do this. So I've been to spin at 12:30. And then I've spent the day doing loads of research, loads of product information, chatting with loads of people. So it's been a really good spray day. So I'm really good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I've been doing facials and spray tans like there's no tomorrow. Well, I need to give my skin a good deep cleanse after all those spray tans. Oh yes.
I'll cheers you, but mine's just water.
Cheers, mine's wine. Guys, how are you all today? Talk to us. Are you excited about learning about retinol? What I would love to know is who already uses retinol. So if you use retinol already, drop 1 in the chat. If you don't use retinol, drop 2 in the chat. And if you've got any questions for us, drop them in the comments. I'm going to try and keep an eye on the comments.
I'd like to know what people are drinking and how their day's been, because I was a bit I just went downstairs to get my water and I thought, what do I want to hear from people this week? And I thought, just general connection, just to see how people are doing. Because last week it was fabulous. I really enjoyed myself, but I felt a bit lonely. I need a few more comments to see see who's checking in.
100%. Yeah, we need you guys to get involved, because otherwise we're just chatting, and we'd love interaction. Oh, Mary's saying too. Okay, great. She's not using retinol just yet. So let's first of all just delve into very quickly what retinol does, all of the benefits of retinol. So retinol, wouldn't you agree, is one of those things that is like the holy grail of a skincare product, because it does so many things. So it will exfoliate the skin. Should we do one and one?
Yeah, go for it. I was going to jump in, but
go on. Do it.
No, I was going to say, you've hit the nail on the head with the holy grail. It's the holy grail of cell renewal for me. So it kind of tricks the skin into renewing faster. So when we get that, we've talked last week or even the week before about glowing skin and how that is sort of like not line free, but it's kind of simple. It's kind of fresh. It reflects back. And that's what retinol for me does. It renews the skin cell. It kind of gives it a fresh barrier. But it's all the time, so it tricks it into saying, you need to renew, you need to renew. Oh, someone's just said, well, Mary just said, not sure what to use it with, and I did a bit of research today, so we'll talk about that in a minute. So remind me, because I've got a really good answer for that one. But renewal of the skin function, and that cell turnover faster. So if you're looking for renewal and getting generalized new skin, and people are afraid of retinols, retinoids, all sorts, but quintessentially that's what they do, is just renew the skin.
Yeah. So it's great because, like, as you said, we were talking about glowing skin last week and about how the layers of dead skin cells, when they sort of sit and build up, that's when you get dull skin, and retinol just quickens up that process. So it will help to break down the glue that's holding on to all of those dead skin cells, so it gives you a fresh face. But what it also does is it helps with the synthesis of collagen. So collagen is a protein, and we produce it naturally in our bodies, and it's like the scaffolding to our skin. It keeps it firm, it keeps it supple, and it helps keep the wrinkles at bay because the skin's nice and firm. I mentioned this last week. From the age, maybe I did, or I think it was actually on a training Zoom I did. From the age of 21, we produce 2% less collagen every single year. That's so scary.
Really kicks in at 25, doesn't it? Because I noticed that, because when people say to me, oh, there's no hope at my age, or I'm too young for anything like this, and you think, well, you are, but scientifically, it's not a beauty thing. It's not saying that wrinkles, laughter lines, all that aren't beautiful. It's just kind of saying that actually it's the depletion in the skin.
Exactly.
We've done a lot of training recently on menopause, and the way I kind of explain it to my group of people at that session was, if you imagine the way that the house is built in terms of bricks, and you talked about, you know, the foundation of it. If you've got your bricks, your cellular cement is basically the mortar that goes through it. If you imagine over time, the collagen is needed to support that bricks and mortar. And if you imagine it, basically like a crumbling house, it just starts to wilt down. That's basically it, isn't it? And I saw something on your profile where you said, oh, I've got sun damage here from...
Yes.
And I was like, that is basically, you can just see the cellular damage. It just kind of starts to pull and withdraw. So anything that's extrinsic in terms of the aging from the environment, that's kind of what you kind of want a cell renewing product to do, is to refuel the inside. Or maybe, like, I don't even show you the bed behind, but the mattress, when it's not got its firmest topper on, is like your skin as it's aged, and you start to get those dimples in the mattress. And if you can get something to get below to that surface layer to lift it up, or if your bed's broken, then that mattress is always going to sink in that one specific place. So you kind of want something to fill in and lift and plump. So nobody wants crumbling bricks, nobody wants a lumpy mattress.
No one wants a lumpy mattress. And the other thing it does is, because it exfoliates the skin and gets rid of that top layer of dead skin cells, it also inadvertently helps hyperpigmentation. So if you've got dark spots, some people call it age spots, liver spots, sunspots, it's all the same thing. It's melanin that is collecting in a certain area of the face. It can be anywhere on the face. It can be a little mark. It can be a big area, and that can be through to sun damage or because of hormones, and it collects in the dead, that's where it shows, in the dead skin cells. So by exfoliating, which retinol does, it will help to fade that hyperpigmentation.
And I just on that exfoliation, we've got obviously like exfoliants that we put on topically, like a granular one or an acidic one. This is kind of loosening it from underneath, because basically, if you imagine, how best to say this, let's think of baby teeth. You get a baby tooth in your mouth, and then the adult tooth comes from below, and it basically pops it. If you imagine your teeth cycle as your cell cycle, that's exactly the same thing. So it's not taking it off by an abrasive nature or a dissolving, it's from underneath it. It's basically saying those skin cells that come through every 28 days, they kind of want to be in position and in place, and it basically means that they are there. There's no slowing down of that cycle, and you can see that sometimes. I always think between summer to autumn, you definitely see that change in the skin. You think, oh gosh, and it's maybe the light, how it reflects on the skin, but you just don't look quite as right. It probably is because you just need something, because that cell turnover has gone so quick with the sun damage or any kind of like irritation to the skin, or even if your diet's been poor or you've been unwell, you've kind of got to get something in there to get that cell renewal, that turnover, to get back to as healthy as it was. It's like a health supplement in a way.
Yeah. I was just trying to go back through some of the messages, and Nicole said, I don't use retinol, it scares me because of my sensitive skin. I have acne prone skin, and doctors prescribed me an ointment that had some retinol in it, not a lot, and it made my skin dry. Sad face. So this is where we could talk about different types of retinol, and there are lots of different types of retinoids, but lots of people, when they ask me about retinol, say, should it be retinol? What's the percentage? Should it be retinol? what's the difference. So I just want to really quickly explain the difference between retinol and retinol, and then we can talk about encapsulated retinol for those who have sensitive skin. But retinol, when you put it on the skin, it will then convert into retinol, and then it converts into retinoic acid, and that's when it does its job. So retinol is basically the second step. It's in between retinol and retinoic acid. So it can work quicker, but it can also irritate a bit more. Retinol is
irritation's good though, isn't it? That irritation is good, as in that's kind of the job it's designed to do. Yes. But obviously, if you are a sensitive skin person, you just got to be aware of how much irritation you want to put to the skin.
Yes. So then we lead on to encapsulated retinol, and this is what might help Nicole. I'm conscious that I'm talking a lot. Do you want to talk about encapsulated retinol, or
well, I'm all over encapsulated retinol. When I did this research today about what you can or can't use things with.
I'm in a really weird mood today, by the way.
No, I've got funky time in the background as well. Anyway, I won't let it disturb my flow, but you can mix and blend products that are encapsulated. So if you've got encapsulated any type of product, it's more flexible in use. It's more flexible for the user. So whether you are dry skin, sensitive skin, you've got that bit more flexibility. Encapsulated retinol basically has a structure around it. I call it, for one that I particularly use it, I've done my little bit of research, and I class it as a smart sugar. So it's a cellular sugar that goes around the outside. So if you imagine it's a big molecule like that, we place it onto the skin, it sinks down to the lowest possible thing. All the time it's encapsulated. So we've not got the retinol to the outside of the skin. We're trying to go underneath the skin. When it gets to the bottom of the skin, like that broken bed, it starts to fix and release and then lift and plump up. The same as, it might like warped mind, what a lava lamp is, when it's just steady turned on. Goes to the bottom and then it slowly starts to bubble and lift up. And that's the surface at the top where you want it to do its work. So any type of serum, you want to treat the skin cell. You want to kind of give it a little message. And that retinol says, buckle up. Yeah. It's time for your best foot forwards or your best face forward. You need to be in prime position. So I think for some people who've tried it where it's a bit of too much of an irritant, it's probably too much of a pure retinol versus it being encapsulated, and then it's going to disperse gently and bring up, and you can feel the do-good as it kind of goes through the cells. And you can see that I've taken selfies before when I've been applying it, and I've gone to a wedding and people say, oh my God, like what makeup have you used? I'm like, well, I don't use makeup. I have my lovely moisturizer, but on those days leading up to it, I've used my particular retinol because it just, like, for me, supercharges the skin cell.
Yeah. No, it's great. And like you said, when it's encapsulated, I think of it like an ice cube in my wine. When as it's melting into the deeper layers of the skin, it actually takes longer to absorb into the skin cells. So whereas if you're using retinol that isn't encapsulated, it's kind of like you're being chucked in the face with a load of cold water and load of ice water in your face, and it's hitting your skin straight away, and that gives that irritating effect. Whereas if it's just gently and softly dissolving into the skin, that's where it takes away those irritating effects. And the irritating effects can be redness, can be dry skin, can be flaky, it can get really quite sore, and that can be if you use too high a percentage or too strong a retinol. Or if you've got very sensitive skin, then you would need to go for an encapsulated retinol. So Nicole, try encapsulated retinol.
Somebody's just said about Rachel just said, what retinol would you recommend for beginners? And I would say it's going to be weak or encapsulated. You want a user-friendly one. So encapsulated to me equals user-friendly because you can slap it on kind of wherever you want. And again, think about the season that we're in. For me, I want to be using my retinol at night time, which is when I do it, because that's when you do your renewal. For women, your blood temperature is much higher at night time. I'm so sorry, because it's kind of one of those perils of just being a fabulous person. Let's call it a fabulous person, not a woman or a man. A fabulous person, their blood temperature is much higher at night time, but that's when you do your renewal. Whereas for less fabulous people like myself, male, we tend to do our renewal throughout the day because we've got that steady that temperature, so it doesn't fluctuate. So that's really when you're going to get your best out of your product. So for daytime, for me, retinol's a bit of a no-go because it's kind of weakening that barrier slightly and in the sun. And I would never ever sunbathe and use a retinol either. I would kind of just take a breather at that point. And I kind of have to explain that to Carl. Carl, my husband, he uses his retinol, and he's just very much not OCD, but very routine in what he does, and he always does an acid exfoliant once he's had a shave and a shower. So that'll be 3 times a week, and that's when he'll apply his retinol. And I'm like, that's fine, and that's at night time. But then sometimes if we're on holiday, I'm saying, right, well, it goes, well, have you packed the retinol? I'm like, no, because you don't need it. It's going to weaken it too much. And sometimes he's got like, you know, really like, not say stubborn skin, but he's got strong skin. But sometimes you can see a little bit here of broken veins. And it's just that start of irritation. He never gets flaky skin, but he is blessed with oily skin, so he doesn't age at all. But that's where I just know the principles of using an encapsulator, which is like slow released, long lasting. That's kind of how I use it. And it's just then a pleasure to use as well because it just feels so beautiful on the skin. It's got that more gossamer texture versus a cream. That's why I want to use it as a specific serum, really.
Yes. Yeah. And also, I'm just trying to go back
got another question. Just that's popped up on mine that says, thanks guys, would you say using it every day or once or twice a week? I'm only going to go from my experience, then you perhaps can give yours. Mine is a night time every day. And in fact, when I worked up to the wedding, as in which my wedding was in February's not got the nicest light for photos. I was using it religiously every day for like a month before, and you could see a massive difference. Almost the fact that people thought I'd had Botox because I was really shiny, because where I've got these kind of like expression lines, they were there, but they were much more minimized. It felt much more tighter and plumped. So every day is okay, but like we just already said, in that comment might have come up after before this, just not while you're going to be in direct sunlight, or if you're going to use it at night time, great. The next day you might put something else on, then you're going to put your SPF on over the top. That to me is the key, but I wouldn't wear it in the daytime.
No, I would never wear it in the daytime. Instead, I would use vitamin C because that helps build up the barrier, your natural defense against the sun, not a replacement for SPF, but that will help counteract. For me, I use my retinol every single evening. I use an encapsulated retinol though. If it was not an encapsulated retinol, I wouldn't be using it every evening. And it very much does depend on your skin. So an encapsulated retinol, you don't need to ease yourself in. So when a lot of the time the advice is start using it once in the first week, twice in the second week, 3 times in the third week, and build yourself up slowly, because they're trying to avoid you getting those irritating effects. But encapsulated retinol, you don't need to do that. Now, retinol works best if you do use it regularly. So think of a plant, an indoor plant. If I watered my plant once a month, and it needed watering every day, if I watered it once a month, it's going to thrive and be wonderful for that first day and maybe the second day, but then the third, fourth, and the rest of the month it's going to be wanting. Don't forget, retinol is treating the baby skin cells right deep down in the layers of the skin where the collagen sits and the elastin fibers sit. And what you're trying to do with retinol is basically train the skin cells way down here to be uniform and to be nice and to be plump, so that when they come up as dead skin cells, they're looking much better quality. So quite often you'll be treating it and then seeing the difference about 28 days later, but you can see a difference before 28 days in some cases. So yeah, if you can do it every day.
Not that I'm medical, but they always say that it always triggers my brain when people have said, oh, I've started antidepressants, it's not done anything. And they always say 2 weeks, 28 days. So anything that's a supplement that you're taking internally, it's going to take a while for it to come out. The same as a retinol or any topical product. It's going to take a while before you just get that use. So I would say try it for 28 days. If you are super sensitive, follow your advice and just go build it up, nice and slowly. But again, it depends if you're using an encapsulated or not.
Exactly.
Not that I've jumped ahead, but I was just going to say I've just slapped a little bit of product on, because I never knew this until today. but the products that you shouldn't mix it with.
Yeah.
One was a BHA.
Yeah.
So retinol must not be mixed with a BHA and an AHA. It's got like an advisory symbol. So it's not like a definite no, but it's like a be careful. But you can mix it with niacinamide and vitamin C. So basically, it's what group go with it, which really for me, I've just popped on a little bit of a milk toner that's got niacinamide in it, because this is effectively my night time. So I've applied that now, because I can't believe I actually came on bare face straight out of the shower. Because I like to look, amazing. Well, thank you. Now I'm going to apply my retinol straight over the top of this. Now mine is like, it's probably going to run out of my hand. You can see it's like a little golden teardrop.
Yes.
Now, I don't apply with fingertips. I always try and just press, but I'm going to always avoid the nose area. And I have before got a lot of redness that's built up from using that. But effectively, I did some modelling once for a skincare company. So voguing it. And one of it was the application of a retinol product. I've still got the video somewhere. And like you can see my hand shaking as I put it on. But not down the nose. It kind of, we don't need to cut that. That is probably one of the areas that's already renewing, which is why you kind of get a little bit more blemishes on there, because it's always renewing. So I just basically really quickly at night, a couple of pumps, and then I just press into the skin, and that just feels really lovely. Now, again, I'm coming from a non-injectable background. I've had no injections just yet, but effectively this is, if I really wanted to look my absolute best, this is where I would use this one. And quite often when Carl applies this, he mixes it with a vitamin C. When I say mixes it, he kind of puts his vitamin C over the top of this to kind of like sandwich it all in. And that's just kind of his thing, but that's at night time. But I'm a bit of a traditionalist, so I've just applied this directly onto the skin. My moisturizer is going to go on next. The smell is divine. I love that one.
Fabulous. But you also need a stable vitamin C, guys. You also need a stable vitamin C. If it's an unstable vitamin C, they will cancel each other out.
Well, shall we just dispel the myth of a unstable? So for me, you can quite often see an unstable one because it sometimes it's milky, it's not clear, it's more down the chalky line, or paste. Quite often that paste, and those are the ones that don't seem to be stabilized. You want one that's a suspended one, so it's kind of in a gel or in a serum or a fluid type of thing. That's kind of the way I would say it. And that's not being preachy. That's just kind of saying that's how I like to think about it.
Yes. No, agreed. So we've got another question from Mary saying, is retinol good for under eye as it's a sensitive area? And is it good for dark circles? My dark circles are bad, lol.
I would say, Mary, just jumping in, look back at the live we did last week, because we talked about specific target products around there. For me personally, from my standpoint, I basically just avoid the nose. I don't put it straight into the eye, but I do kind of apply it kind of everywhere. I'm a bit of a Derbyshire slap it on type of person. But basically, you just saw me pat and press under here.
Yeah.
And I never forget this bit here, just down there. But I always avoid that nose area.
And again, encapsulated retinol is going to be okay if you pat it under the eye area. Do not go near the tear duct or the lash line. That will irritate your eyes. It makes my eyes hurt just thinking about it. But if a retinol is not encapsulated, it could be too harsh. But then there are eye-specific retinols that are not encapsulated. So if you're not using an encapsulated retinol, make sure on the bottle it does say eye retinol. Okay.
Just reading the back of mine, just in case else.
So guys, drop a 1 in the comments if you do use retinol, drop a 2 if you don't use retinol. If you've got any questions for them, drop them in. We'd love to hear from you. Now, Chris, if anyone follows you and wants some skincare advice or skin concern advice, they're going to drop a comment, because we're going to post this later as well, aren't we? So if anyone's watching on replay, they can comment Serum, right? And then you'll get back to them.
That's the north and south divide we talked about before. You're a Serum and I'm a Serum.
Hang on. Comment Serum and it'll get
Serum.
back to you.
Job's a good one. It's true. And I just love the fact, people call like you might pronounce retinol a bit different to me because you might be a little bit more posher down south. I was like, retinol. Go on with it, retinol. But yeah, so comment serum or serum in the comments below, and we're more than happy to chat. I mean, or just message me. I mean, you've got a fancy app that does these things. We can't quite get mine working to that level, so I will just be manually going to the people just to say hi, and also comment with the things that you would like to hear from. Obviously, we are just a very small. Oh, I can hear a cat.
I know, it's my Alfie.
We are a very small drop in a very, very, very large ocean, so we can only comment from our perspective, from a therapist's perspective, and also then just from let's call it a layman's perspective, which is me. You're the therapist, I'm the layman. But obviously we can, I think we've probably tried hundreds of thousands of products and used hundreds of, so we can go from our perspective of what we like. And also, again, I'll go, Carl uses everything, but Carl was somebody that was like farm life, didn't use, he probably just used actually shower gel on his face. And everyone always said to me, when you met Carl, I bet you like gave him loads of like skincare products, didn't you? And I said, I didn't actually. I didn't want our relationship to be based on the fact that I was gifting him like product skincare. But when we first met, this is where retinol really came into play for me. When we first met, we went for a date on the Saturday. It's like a Craig David song. And then he said, can I see you tomorrow? So I said, yeah. So we basically had a coffee date. Then we went out for dinner that night. Then for 2 weeks, he wanted to catch up or see me every single night or every single day. And I was like, this is not normal. It must be like a con man, because people don't like, you know, want to date every single night. And to have to look your best or what you look like on that first date. So I was literally like bathing in this stuff just to make me feel like youthful. And I think the first product I gave him, because we met in February and he got the worst. I mean, I've got them on my hands now, calluses from basically poo picking.
Because of your gym work.
Yeah. So, well, no, not gym, just farm. Yeah. So he got these all over his hands, but it was a winter 6 years ago where it was ice cold and all the water on the farm had frozen for those 2 weeks that we'd first met. And I gave him a hand treatment. That's what I gave him for his hands. That was the first thing. People literally thought that I had like brought him in by giving him products, and I had not done that at all. So I'm just kind of like putting that out there, that now he is the one that's the advocate for the products. And he's like, well, I use this on this day and this and this and this. And if anyone always says, oh, I've not got time for that, I think my skincare routine is probably about 7 steps every single day, and it's less than a minute because it has to be quick. Tonight, I've literally, as my nighttime routine, I didn't shower until I've like, well, had the gym, didn't shower until tonight, as in about 5:30, slapped on my balm cleanser, turned it into a milk in the shower, then I put my gel cleanser on, all in the shower, washed the hair, dried the hair, tidied up, did whatever I needed to do, and then I've literally put on my milky toner, and then I've applied my retinol serum for tonight, and then I've put on a little bit of a day treatment, and I will go in for, this is from my bedside, this will be my nighttime treatment when I come to bed. So this is kind of like a weird step, because like it's before pre-cocktail facial, which obviously I've got my anti-aging moisturizer on, and then I'm going to go for my nighttime, like kind of just over the top of that in a bit.
Great. So guys, if you follow me and you would like any advice, skincare, routine, product related, you're going to comment the word Jen, Jen. Very simple. And
if you follow me, you're going to type the word serum or serum into the box. And I should just message you both straight away. Anyway, but we also would love to hear generally what you want to hear about next. We've not really had any thoughts about where we go next, but it could be a little bit more in depth on serums. Maybe that might be the next.
I think that might quite possibly be the next one. Skin concerns and serums that can help with them.
Serums.
I'm just going to make sure we've got all of the questions. Guys, if you've got any questions about retinol, sandwiching, that's the next thing. Sandwiching. If you've got any questions about retinol, drop them in the comments box while I'm talking about sandwiching. So another tip, if you've got sensitive skin, Well, if you're a little bit worried about starting with retinol, what's my hair doing here? The sandwich effect is a really good thing to start with. So what you would do is you would get a tiny amount of moisturizer. Make sure it's just a plain moisturizer, nothing with retinol in it or anything that's going to irritate the skin. Nothing with vitamin C in it, just a normal moisturizer. Put a tiny layer over the whole face and then apply your retinol and then apply a layer of moisturizer. And what that does, moisturizer, retinol, moisturizer, it's going to sandwich the retinol. And it's kind of almost giving the effect of an encapsulated retinol, but not so scientific. It's sandwiching the retinol. So it means that it's dampening down those irritating effects. So if you've got super sensitive skin, if you're using encapsulated retinol and it's still irritating, use the sandwich effect as well.
I'm doing that now. I just thought I'd demonstrate it because I thought, well, might as well really kind of, I might as well just kind of do as you've said. But if you want to do it in the Derbyshire terms, your moisturiser is the bread, your retinol serum is the filling. Whack them together, stick them on. But
love it.
It's such I find skincare so fascinating in that layering process, and it was something I never knew about years ago, but actually kind of like layering the skin. And when you look at like your products lined up, think of the molecule size. So I think wasn't Nicola, it was Mary who was saying I've got, you know, the dry skin. Go back to the foundation of how you treat your skin morning or night, which is start the prep of removal. So it's whether it's in the morning removing it at night dust or whether it's nighttime removing a lot of makeup, etc. Look at that level of molecule size. Is it going to be a thick oil, which is the highest one? Is it slightly thinner? Because it sounds like sometimes when you alter that foundation, everything else then starts to fall into place. Now, don't change it all in one go. Don't think I'm going to change my cleanser and then going to change my retinol, whatever. But I would say that you make certain tweaks to the certain layering in the seasons that we're in, and you kind of start to see a huge difference in the skincare. So whether it's you're looking at like a balm cleanser or a gel cleanser or a lotion cleanser or, dare I say it, a wet wipe or something that have alcohol in it, sometimes people, because they have busy lives, don't always understand those differences. Things that are going to stretch the skin, make the skin panic, and then you end up with drier skin. So be aware of those things and think about what stage of life you're in. You are kind of like perimenopausal, and I don't know you, Mary, so I'm so sorry if I'm being offensive, but our skin reacts differently to the outside stress. So is it a stress thing? So am I extrinsically stressed, and therefore that stress is coming at me, and then my face will react differently to mine now. So it's, and obviously I'm not perimenopausal, but I am going into my 40s, so I do think my skin does react different to stress than it did when I was kind of like much younger.
Yeah, and also, like, you made a good point there that reminded me, so often if someone, for example, has oily skin, they might go to the shop and buy the whole oily skin range. So the oily skin cleanser, the oily skin toner, moisturizer for oily skin, a serum that's going to help with reducing oil production. But that's too much. It's too much. So you need to balance. It's like a meal. You wouldn't have a whole plate, well, some people wouldn't have a whole plate of meat or a whole plate of veg or all of your carbs, pasta, bread and pizza. I mean, I would. So you need to mix it up. So, you know, with the right cleanser for your skin type, and then maybe a hydrating toner. You don't want everything all in the same range because it's going to be too much for your skin, and that could be drying it out as well. But yeah, if you want any routine advice, whoever you follow, just drop us a message and we'll certainly help you out with that, Mary.
Maybe think as well about what you just said there, because we are just having pizza tonight.
Are you?
But you wouldn't have a pizza base on its own with the pasta on its own with, you know, a layer of bread on the top. So I get what you're saying, and that's absolutely, you know, true. And it's kind of working out what your skin needs. But like I say, sometimes it's a gentle tweak. So it's like, not that everyone's skin is dry. It's dry because of it is dry skin. I think the only way you can do that is for like a month, like just test your skin by putting nothing on it, and just every time you've washed it with water, what does it feel like afterwards? Because it's how that oil comes back. And most oily people are probably oily in a specific area, and they'll go, oh, I feel like my skin, you know, breaks out, I've got open pores, all that type of stuff. So I'll strip it and the skin goes, and then produces more to kind of like keep the barrier healthy. And I think that's the way. Don't think dry skin, don't think sensitive skin, just think, how is the barrier, or how is my skin functioning today? If it is dry, it's probably because of stress, or it's because you've not hydrated with water enough, or it is because of the products that you're using, or the final step is that it is dry because that is naturally what's happening with your skin. Oily again, it's just being a bit aware of what is happening with the barrier function. Is it oily all over? Once you wash your skin, does it feel tight? Does it feel comfortable? And all that type of stuff is really key. I'm just, because I found this on my bedside and I have shaved today, I'm just applying a neck treatment. So I'm sorry, just, you know, because you're right in front of me.
I'm jealous.
I know.
I haven't got any products with me today. I'm jealous.
Well, I saved my skin just for this moment, and then I so enjoyed it. Like last week, I really enjoyed it, and then my eyes felt super fresh afterwards. And I'll go downstairs and Carl have a cocktail ready and say, well, how did it go? So really good. Guys, but he's out, he's gone for a little treatment. So, brilliant. But I'm just applying.
Love it.
But talking of, I'm going to just literally for 30 seconds, just wax lyrical about oily skin. Depend on some areas of the body. Some areas of the body produce more oil than less. And this is why here I'm quite dry on my neck, which is why you can extend your skincare down onto your neck and you'll see a result. Because we always forget that. But this is quite exposed to the skin, to the sun. And here it doesn't have any oil cells in it. So you kind of need to work with that. And again, skin changes over time. I probably change my product up and down every like 3 or 4 months, but that's because it's seasonal, isn't it?
Yeah, seasonal.
So, like when you start to really break it down and become a bit forensic with it, which nobody would, but I do, you start then thinking, oh, that's why that is. It's not necessarily because my skin's changed, but the season changed. So
yeah, 100%. And I think we should open up a poll to these guys. I know we've mentioned it before, but anyone who's still here, what do you want to hear from us? Like, for the next few weeks, what are the topics that you want to hear from us? Because we can talk about anything, and we just have a chat between ourselves, don't we, and go, I think we should talk about this, but we want to know what you want to hear about, because like, help us help you. We can talk about anything. So drop a comment with what you want, or if you don't want to drop it in the comments, put it in a private message to us and we will do it. We will.
I would, my final little thing to Mary, check your stress levels. I've seen so many clients say that they've experienced sensitivity or super dryness, and it's because there's that cortisone rushing around the body, and that life's changed, or they're more stressed about more things. So we're going to see, kind of like with the cost of living crisis or people in general crisis or whatever, skin flare-ups, because it's just that stress can be the worst thing to the skin. It can change how we think about the skin as well. So be aware of that, just in case there's something that you can change there, Mary, in your life. You might be able to, you might not. I don't know you well enough to comment, but I have done now.
Love it. Oh, well, I've had so much fun. I could stay talking to you for hours.
Guess what I've got on now?
What?
Stay there.
What's he got? He's got some sort of disco music, I bet.
Not been planned.
I love it.
I don't even know if I can do it.
Face oils, yes, no, post menopause, amazing. We'll do it. Sarah, we will do face oils. Yes and no. We will do a section on face oils, and we will do post menopause. Chris has just trained in menopause, so we will do a post menopause one as well.
Facial oil,
yeah, facial oils and post menopause. We will do that. Love it. Anyway, guys, happy weekend. We're finally at the weekend. Love you all so much. Thank you so much for joining. Woo.
See you soon.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks to you. Bye.